Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
I've been good, dude. Happy second week of February, bro. If we're 1/3 of the way through this month, which is crazy. I feel this is the time of the year where shit just starts going way too quick, bro. Because I feel like February literally just started last week, and it feels like we're already like halfway through. But all good, bro. Had a really fun weekend. Me and the wife had a staycation in Miami, which was fun. Bro, I know you don't live here, so I don't know if you remember or like when if your wife ever told you, bro, like when you think of South Beach, Miami Beach, like what comes to mind?
South Beach, I would say just noise and partying.
Yeah.
It's kind of the vibe I get. A lot of tourism, I would say as well.
Yeah, for sure. So we got a mixture of that. So the reason why we picked South Beach was because when my wife and I started dating, she was living there for a year, bro. So I would go there every weekend because I live 40 minutes away, stay for the weekend. It'd be like a fun vibe. But we usually would have dinner at home. So, bro, one day first of all, I walked 19,000 steps on Saturday. So, like, bro, I'm way ahead of this shit now. But, dude, we had a great, like, day vibes, bro. Beach, jumped out, quickly started walking, going somewhere else, lunch. Dude, amazing. Bro, but we forgot how ghetto and ratchet and unorganized and tourist trappy the South Beach Ocean Drive scene is, dude. Like, bro, there was nowhere to eat. We got scammed to like come and sit down at this like the most amazing Italian happy hour spot. And bro, we got our check after like 30 minutes because I was like, bro, this food is like awful, right? Like they just, you know, how like the goal is for them to get as many people as possible to sit down. But like a lot of those people aren't reoccurring customers. So like it doesn't matter if it's bad because it's like, all right, bro, you don't live here, right? So, oh man, so I had a terrible like Saturday night, but overall great weekend. Obviously enjoyed the Super Bowl. But I know we were talking offline about work. So for me, dude, I started the week off like strong. Like, yo, my job has a late arrival after the Super Bowl. So we don't have to log in until like 10:30. I'm like, dude, amazing. I'm gonna have an amazing workout. Go do the sauna for 40 minutes and do a cold plunge for 10. I achieve all these things, dude. I even had breakfast outside before work started. So I'm like, bro, nothing is gonna fucking rattle me today. Bro, within like 10 seconds of logging in, everything's on fire. This person wants to quit. This person hates this person. This client wants to fire us. I'm like, bro, it's only like 12:30. Like how we've only been working for like an hour. Like how is this real life, dude? So yeah, crazy start to the week, bro. But again, overall life is amazing. We're super blessed, even, you know, be in these positions to have these stresses. But today felt like the most Mondays of Mondays, if I'm being perfectly honest, bro. How about you?
For me, I don't know. I feel like I feel this way most Mondays. Rarely is it anything super serious work-wise, but it's usually me coming off of the weekend trying to get back into like motivation mode, and a lot of times a lot of stuff that I don't deem very important comes up, and now I'm forced to like fake this role of giving a shit. So that's something I'm working on. I've been seeing a therapist regularly now for the first time.
Oh, nice.
Which is dope and super helpful. So that's been a nice addition to the year and was one of my New Year's resolutions. So
that's great.
That's been helpful. Especially because like, you know, sometimes you feel down, but it's not necessarily tied to a very specific event or thing, but it's still something you should probably address because it's not healthy. So I think that's what I've been doing. Like I realized I had more anxiety about random shit that wasn't so serious, but still having an impact. So I think that change has been helpful. But weekend wise, it was cool. Did Korean barbecue with some friends. Saw a movie that was Which
movie?
Heart Eyes. I don't know if you've seen it.
Bro. Yeah, because the reviews are actually decent. I was thinking about taking Gina this Friday.
I don't think it's definitely not bad by any means. Like I think it was entertaining and like a fresh concept for a horror movie. I think for me it was just not really, there was no like twist or anything that like blew my mind. It was just kind of very straightforward.
That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah, was it like it's just straightforward horror film? Like, yeah, you kind of knew
they're not
who was
throwing
gonna
all kinds
be.
of crazy twists and.
Okay.
I mean, no, there is a twist. I should reframe that. There is a pretty interesting twist towards the end. So I would say it's a fun concept and also funny. I like when they incorporate humor into these films because it just adds to it all and gives you a range of emotions. So I would say still see it. I think maybe I'm so desensitized to horror. Like it has to be the darkest, just beyond.
Like if it's not Smile 2, it's like, fuck it.
Yeah. Like Smile 2 is my vibe because it's just so extreme. This is a notch down, but still fun.
Okay.
So if you're fine with that, then by all means go see it.
I think the biggest thing coming out though this weekend is like the Captain America though, right? The Marvel.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting, and I definitely want to see that because I feel like Marvel's been missing like for the past 10 movies. There's no way they can fuck this one up.
Damn, I feel like dude, that's crazy. You feel that way, dude? Because from the trailers, I'm like, bro, there's no way this is good. It's like,
well, I don't know. Maybe it's wishful thinking. Like, not to sound sexist, but the last movie I can recall seeing was Mrs. Marvel or Marvel?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, what Brianna Learson. Yeah,
it was just awful, and I felt like it was like a women are strong and cool type of thing, and there wasn't even like that much good action or plot. It felt like just a money grab. Whereas this, maybe it's one of those situations where the scenes in the trailer are just the best, and everything else is going to suck. But I've had a tough time getting into Thor or any of the other films. Like I just could care less. And there's a couple scenes in this where I'm like, okay, it's worth checking out if I can, see it for free, quote unquote, with my pass. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think my struggles with it is that I don't think the trailers are that crazy. And then it's hard for me to comprehend how at 80 years old or so, Harrison Ford and then Anthony Mackie, who's like a C-list actor, are going to carry an entire film for almost like 2.5 hours. Like that's where I struggle. You know what I mean?
He is pretty like whatever.
He's average, bro. Like he's like
not bad, not
good
for it, just cold.
And good for you for making obviously a great living off this and being a millionaire. Good for you. But like, to be the main guy and what people are like you said, most of these recent Marvel movies have been duds. Like, bro, that's a lot of weight on his Captain America ass shoulders, bro. And I don't know if he's prepared. But again, I hope it works out. That's going to be one though. I wait to watch it on Disney Plus though. I'm not going to the movies for that.
Word. Even if it turns out it's like a 95% Rotten Tomatoes.
The reviews have to be stupid for me to be like, all right, let's go watch that one.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Because again, I can't fathom, bro. Harrison Ford is like, how is he alive, bro? Thank God he's alive. But like, he's so old. I just can't believe that he's like the Red Hulk. Like all these things are like, bro, no way it's gonna be good. Yeah. But could be wrong. But let's get into the.
I was just gonna say the more we talk about movies, obviously the more I learn about what you like, and I think you both will enjoy Hard Eyes.
Hard Eyes, okay, because she has some like pause because she's like, it seems corny from the trailers. That was her initial reaction.
That was my initial reaction when I saw it as well, but I don't know. It's very gray in terms of like how you guys will perceive it. I think it was funny. I don't think the humor was that corny, but if I think of the SZA movie, that humor wasn't that far off. So I guess it depends like what angle you're going into for. Are you trying to be afraid? Like, do you want those jump scares and everything, or do you want it to be like kind of like so. Scary movie?
If no, I don't want it to be like scary movie. I want it to be like more like
not scary movie, Scream.
Like Scream. Yeah, like Scream, where it's like there's actual moments of like, oh, I didn't see that happening, but then maybe there's like a sprinkle of like comedy or something to like ease the tension.
Right. I would say there's
because obviously the way that his costume is, you must go into it knowing it's going to be somewhat gimmicky. I understand that.
Yeah.
But not a complete like joke, I think, is what we're looking for.
No, not a complete joke. I would say, like, when it comes to the murder scenes, they tend to be over the top. Like, how the fuck is this even happening? But yeah, it could go one way or the other. But
okay, so what did you
fun.
rate it? Because I got like an 80% Rotten Tomatoes. So what would you rate it?
I would say 7 out of 10.
Okay, so not too far off.
No.
Okay, yeah, I was debating it, bro. Okay, I might just call an audible and be like, listen, we just went out last week. Let's just stay home. Like there's nothing out there for us. Yeah. But all right, bro. Let's get into it. I'm glad you had a good weekend. We're gonna get into more of that right now. Episode 203 about to start. Episode 202 is up everywhere. That one was about Kendrick dominating at the Grammys, and then I think this one will probably be majority of Kendrick being the main stage at what was a very lackluster Super Bowl game. I know obviously you have friends who you were with that were rooting for the Eagles. Did you have a rooting interest either way, or you just wanted a good game?
The latter. Generally speaking, I just want a good game. Never have too strong of an opinion. But in this case, I was rooting for the Eagles just because not only was my friend rooting for him, it's always nice like to have positive energy. The last thing I want is him fucking throwing beer cans and socking.
Yeah.
But I think
were the majority of the people around you Eagles fans?
No, I think it was mostly Kansas City. But for me, like I kind of got over the whole Chiefs, Taylor Swift, like they're the
America's team and shit.
Like fuck this shit. Like I want the changing of the guards to happen already.
Nice. Well, then you were happy. It was a great game. Dude, I turned it off with like 8 minutes left in the third quarter. I was like, bro, I'm not. It was just it was honestly very obvious from like the first like 6 minutes of the game that this was going to be very bad, right? Because it was just like, again, I don't want to get too technical, blah blah blah, but like it was very clear the Chiefs' offense was going to have like no chance. So I was like, bro, if that's not working, then this is over, bro, because I know the Eagles are going to put up points. So if you can't keep up, so yeah, I turned it off, like, honestly, like maybe like 10 minutes after the Super Bowl was over, the halftime show was over. So, but caught the halftime show, probably the most important thing that happened yesterday. I think that was trending more than even the game. So Kendrick Lamar is accompanied by Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam. SZA pops out. And then I guess the big surprise, would you say the big surprise was Serena Williams? Was that like the biggest?
If we had to pinpoint like what was the element of surprise,
what they alluding to?
That one was the one that we just nobody predicted and wasn't in the leak.
Okay, yeah. So there was a leak. We'll go through the set list. Well, I guess we can go through that now. So the set list was, took a screenshot of it. So technically, the first song, I think everyone got it wrong, bro. I don't know if he put some money on this himself with Vegas to figure out, but technically the first song was what? Bodies, which was an unreleased song from GNX.
Yep.
Which is a crazy way to start with a song that no one really knows. Then that one eased into Squabble Up. Then he played Humble, DNA. He played a snippet from Euphoria, Man at the Garden, Peekaboo. And then SZA came out for Luther, All the Stars, Not Like Us, and then ended it with TV Off. All right, so that was a set list that Academics actually leaked like 24 hours prior, right?
Yep.
Okay, so people were hoping it would be wrong or something, whatever the case may be, but just the performance is happening. I'm at home on my couch. You're on your rooftop at your apartment complex. What was the energy while the 15, 20 minutes of that was happening?
The energy, and when I say this, this was the energy the entire time. It was pretty lackluster, but granted, like everyone who's on my rooftop was like 45 to even higher, and they're not even hip hop fans either. Like these are
was clear
immigrants, without that risk of sounding, offensive or whatever. It was very clear. So I wasn't expecting them to like anybody unless it was damn near like Michael Jackson or something. So,
Okay.
and then on top of that, it's hard to tell too, because some people were just fixated on the performance. Like I know my friends are fans of Kendrick, but it's not like they were up breaking dancing to Squabble Up or some shit. They're just kind of like sitting there soaking up the moment. So I would say it was still overall pretty quiet up until I think maybe Not Like Us came on. I saw some more head bobbing and stuff, but that was pretty much the energy within my circle.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say, again, the energy in my house was just me and my wife watching on the couch. So I would just say, I don't think I went into it looking for issues. I just really went into it was like, man, this, because of the hype leading up to it. Because, bro, it felt like no one was even talking about the game leading up to this Super Bowl. It was all about this halftime show, right? He does 2 interviews leading up. We haven't really heard him speak throughout the entirety of this, past 9-10 months of this beef. So I was really just going into this like, man, like this better like move me, bro. Like make me be like, yo, nodding my head along and like, oh, that was crazy. And yeah, dude, I don't know. Like it just, again, I'm glad I wasn't crazy or my TV wasn't fucked up because I saw some tweets about this. His mic was super low. So like it also felt like that was to his disadvantage because like I feel like there could have been some more energy, and I don't think it wasn't that he was doing his best to give energy off, but that the mics weren't helping his case. Did you feel that way at all?
Yeah, I felt that way for sure. And I learned later. I think with the upload, they were able to enhance and like capture the audio more properly. So if you're listening, definitely rewatch it if you felt like that was an issue. But I felt that way watching it live.
Watching it live, yeah. So watching it live, man, I think it was. And we'll go into like, the genres that should be doing this performance or not. But I would just say my initial reaction with this was it felt like I think he's trying his very best to put on a show. And I think a show was put on, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not saying that it wasn't a good show, but was I entertained? Not at all, bro. Like, not at all. And it wasn't even, again, I'm really trying to be very clear about this. Like, it wasn't even from like a hater perspective, bro. Like, I like Kendrick Lamar a lot. I enjoy a lot. We spoke about GNX a million times here and going back to other things. It was more so like, bro, I wasn't entertained at all. Like, I was just like sitting there like, okay. All right. Like, I think at some point, like, this is going to get, and again, I was being, like, I guess, naive. I really thought the leaked set list wasn't going to be it, and we were going to hear songs that made sense. I think my biggest issue with the overall set list, it was, again, and I think Dave Free said this today, bro. I think he said, well, we weren't really there to play the hits, right? This was about Kendrick and his artistry. And I'm like, is it though, man? Like this isn't Def Poetry Jam, bro. Like, or this isn't your own concert. This is like the show for 113 million people in America to log in and be entertained mid, fight.
Right.
So that was my issue, bro. Like, I think this became way too much about Kendrick, the artist, and this is almost like a victory lap for what his career has been. And then we're going to get into the Drake aspect that kept coming up throughout that fucking performance. But removing all that, just like from a pure entertainment aspect, bro, I was like, nah, man, like not at all.
Right. No, I think everything you felt is valid, and clearly this was a controversial performance. And I've heard also this.
But did it have to be though? To cut you off,
Kendrick.
I was going to ask, like, but did it have to be a controversial performance? Like, I feel like there was also a route here where it's just a phenomenal performance, and we just focus on the hits.
I think that's where it gets tricky because Kendrick represents, or at least portrays himself as someone who represents like the anti-establishment, like artistry first. I do it for the culture. So on one hand, it's like he's being applauded for taking this moment to send a message and do what he wants as an artist because he deserves it all, to quote himself. But then you have other people who are also fans of Kendrick, and some not so much and maybe more casual, who are like, that's cool, but that's not what this performance is about. And I don't know like what the right answer is, because like as an artist, you should have the freedom to do whatever you want to get your brand across or message or whatever. But on the other hand, like for most of America, I think this performance tends to kind of like pander to the broader audience, like casual listeners, people who have no idea who these people are, people who are hardcore fans. So I thought long and hard about this, and bear with me if it's kind of lengthy, but I think basically there's two ingredients to like the ideal performance for Super Bowl, or at least what people would say ideal. And I think the first one's nostalgia. So, you know, generally that means throwbacks that came out a decade ago, 5 years ago, and everyone can clearly sing along to it. There's not like need for censorship, which was, you know, clearly pretty heavy in this performance. And I think what's tricky is we've been giving Kendrick nonstop flowers for like 8 months or even more. So, you know, when it comes to like Rihanna, and who hasn't put out an album in however long, it's a lot easier to like, you know, be on board with what's going on, even if she doesn't have like surprise guests. But I think with Kendrick,
but let the record show, I thought that performance was also trash, right?
Yeah.
Because then it became like, well, she's pregnant. Then don't do the fucking show if you're pregnant. I don't know what to tell you.
And I'll get to my second ingredient, which I think may have helped with your opinion on hers. But I think to summarize the nostalgia aspect, we've been getting so much Kendrick that it kind of feels like a pop out number two for the fans like us who have followed his career. And then for those who don't know Kendrick at all or are more casual, you know, they wanted to hear like the Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe and backseat freestyles and stuff. And he definitely had some hits in there like Humble and stuff. But again, it's like condensed into 15 minutes, and that was a small portion. So I think, not to say he made the wrong choice, because if as an artist he wants to do that, cool, but he's gonna get that backlash for not having, you know, Swimming Pools and Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe and Mad City and all these other hits in there. So I think that was aspect number one that a lot of other performances lean on. And then two, I would say, is I would coin it like collaborative surprise. Like I looked at some of the older performances, like the most random ass like combination of people that gets so many different viewers excited, like one with NSYNC, Aerosmith, Britney Spears, and Nelly all on one stage. And I think people were hoping Kendrick would bring out Rihanna again, or Jay-Z, or Taylor Swift again. Not to say he should have done it, but I think every Super Bowl you kind of, what a lot of people find legendary and worthy of speaking about the next day is like, damn, can you believe he brought out Missy Elliott? Because, you know, we haven't seen her do shit for 10 years, but she came on stage and made me feel like I was 17 again or whatever. That's kind of missing from this. And I think that's what makes it so tricky for people to get on board with, because it's like, unless you're a straight up GNX stan, and we are, but even for us, it's like, okay, I've listened to the album 15 times, saw the pop out, like I didn't learn anything new other than this motherfucker has like the best breath control ever, and like is just a better choreographer than most rappers. I think that's undeniable. But in terms of like going to sleep, like he did the most unexpected shit. I think that was kind of missing, which maybe is our fault. I don't know. Maybe we just expected too much because we've been talking about this for a year.
I don't know, man. I don't think
Not a year.
You mean expect too much from him?
No, I think just given the hype of the Super Bowl and this performance and everything he's already done, like to Drake's career and all the chess moves he's made, I think I just kind of lied to myself that there was going to be a more dramatic reveal or moment of some sort, rather than just putting on an amazing show, which he did. And I think that's why there's this controversy, because people who maybe felt it was lackluster feel like he didn't deliver. I think he delivered. I just think there was too much just fabricated hype around like him doing something to officially brand himself as like, you know,
the king or something,
the Messiah or some shit. And it's like, no, he's just gonna do his songs really well and fucking walk off stage. Like that's it. Like what else was gonna happen? Resurrect Tupac or some shit?
Yeah, I like the point you made though about like every show, because even the show that he was a part of 3 years ago or 2 years ago, even that had like so many like when 50 Cent, popped out at during the Eminem set, or
Yeah.
was Exhibit there too?
Uh,
I don't know, but you know what I mean. Like it was, dude, so many
like
LA people. It was so many people, bro. Mary J. Blige popped out as well. Like, yeah, that there's more like aha, wow moments. Even the Usher one, man. I know everyone was talking about him doing the Vegas show. So what other surprise? Yeah, but like a lot of people can't afford to go to the Vegas show. So that still very much was like the first time witnessing it for hundreds of millions of people. So I don't know, man. I just think. I agree with all the points you said, and then maybe it is the viewer's fault for having such high expectations. But then I lean on the fact that, like, all right, man, the idea that you are the artist first, then, man, I feel that there also is a line in the sand that you take. If you're going to agree to do that show, then you have to agree to do that show for what that show is meant to be, and is meant to be entertaining. Like, that's where I think I struggle with. Like, if you're either going to be the guy who's like, nah, I don't want to be a part of the industry, fuck everybody, kill this party, you can't then ask to be the headliner of your own party. That's the actual party for everyone else as well. Yeah, it doesn't make sense, dude. Like it's either or, bro. Like I know pick a side has been the biggest thing, like trending for the last like 9 months. Like, bro, then pick a side. Like, if you want to do that kind of show, then I don't think you sign up to be the Super Bowl headliner. Like, that's there's a desire to like, yo, fuck everyone who stands for this, but I want to also stand for it, but I want to do it my way. It's like, bro, like, how does that benefit? I don't know, man. It just felt like, I get what you're saying about like, I know he put on a good show, but I think the job of the person in that seat is to put on an entertaining show, bro. And like, I'm not saying pander to the non-hip hop listeners, but bro, there was a lot of hip hop listeners who were like, bro, like imagine if you went to a club and the DJ just played those 9 songs in a row. You'd be like, yo, what vibe am I meant to be on to this? You know what I mean? Like you just start out with a song that we never heard of, then you give us one banger, then you slide into some random, like, bro, like what, where are we going with this, man? So like, it just felt cohesively all over the place is how I felt. And then again, we can make the pivot now to like, I think the SZA aspect saved it a little bit because again, I think she sounded beautifully, and I think those were moments that I think everyone kind of resonated with because like, oh, we've heard these songs all the fucking time. So I think that was helpful. Yeah, how'd you feel about her coming out, by the way? Like,
actually, that was the moment where it was kind of anticlimactic for me. I thought she sounded beautiful
obvious
as well. Yeah, and part of that's like, well, we can blame fucking academics, I guess. Part of that is I already saw the set list before, and then on top of that, the transition just felt a little rigid, like straight into Luther. It was on a very like,
you knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, you know what was gonna happen, but his energy was very, I don't know, like if macho is the right word, or on some like high energy shit, and then it transitions quickly to Luther, and then there's only so much like vocal energy you can put into a song like that for a grand stage. And I think for me, that's why, as I think about it more, like everything aside, I just don't know if hip hop generally can translate as well in like this condensed, hyper focused setting like this, and be interesting enough, because you can only like produce so much energy as a single rapper, which is why rappers have hype men and crowd interaction and shit, because you just can't sit there and rap for 2 hours and not have some variety in a sense. I think singers kind of get away with it because they do have like a bunch of dancers and fucking colors and shit flying around, and wardrobe switches. Whereas with this, it was pretty much the same like American flag dancing group, kind of following him around. And then also there was like no live band at least to the degree that I remember a lot of
Naked Eye. Yeah.
performances. So I think that's where it gets tricky. Is it then becomes like karaoke, but in this instance, this is like karaoke level 100. Unless like
Oh yeah, no,
you've
he was. Yeah,
listened
he
to
was
the
killing it.
music, like you're not fucking following along. So I think that makes it tricky from like an entertaining performance, and it's going to cause controversy because people are then going to say, well, it's too above your head, like you just wouldn't understand, or like you're the enemy of the culture, basically.
If you say that,
yeah, if you say this could have been more entertaining, or there's improvements to be made, people who are reading more heavily into the symbolism and factoring in current political times and XYZ, they're going to fault you for wishing certain elements were a bit more fun and like less serious. And I think it's like a battle between artistry and, hey, like, can I just enjoy my fucking Corona and slice of pizza for 10 minutes?
Is that what you're sipping on right now, by the way? You drinking Corona right now?
One of the leftover Pacificos.
Bro, have you drank any non-alcoholic beers?
I did actually once in January.
Oh, bro, I've had a couple recently. I had a Peroni that was non-alcoholic, which is very good, and then this brand called Athletica, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, do you still get a buzz when you drink that shit? By the way,
yeah, I think there was a placebo. Obviously, not to the extreme.
Not to the extreme.
A little alcohol in it, technically, like a very, very small amount that won't get you drunk.
Okay, bro, because I had a couple at a work event, and then I drove home, and I'm like, am I drunk? Like what is?
Yeah, no, it works, and it tastes pretty similar to me.
Yeah, I think it's like it convinces your brain you have a drink in your hand. You're socializing with other people who are drinking. So yeah. So just a side note on that. But I don't know, man. And again, I think I told you this. I went to see one of my favorite DJs, Joe K. Shout out to Selection in New York like 3 years ago, bro. And I still remember this line vividly. He was about to start his set, and he said, "Hey guys, I'm gonna play a few songs that may be extreme. Just give it a chance." Right? And then I looked at my boy, Sam, who you know. And I was like, bro, fuck all that noise. Just be good, right? Because if I flew here, if I bought the ticket, bro, I'm not trying to get an excuse as to why this is or isn't what it's meant to be. Bro, just be entertaining. And I know there's a lot of, bro, like, I get there was beautiful symbolism, bro. The blue, the red, the white meant this. It could stand for that. Uncle Sam and Samuel L. Jackson. The fucking stage was a PlayStation controller. Cool, bro. I feel like all those things are fine, but like if that's the main thing that we're meant to take away and then we were never truly entertained, then I think we've kind of also lost the plot, bro. Like, because I feel like this goes like, again, we can bring it back to Audio Theory discusses movies today. Like, there's a lot of films that have excellent writing, but if the acting is trash, who gives a fuck? Bro, like if all the things are meant to like, oh, but he meant this and his jeans were this tight and that like, bro, like stop, bro, like stop, bro. You look weird wearing flared jeans. Like let's stop the nonsense. And like, bro, it wasn't that good from an entertainment standpoint. And I think that's okay, dude. Like I feel like again, maybe I think to your first point, that maybe because we've given him so much flowers over the last year or so, everyone kind of feels wrong, like critiquing him, right? Mm-hmm. Like he can do no wrong. I was like, bro, like people take missteps, bro. Like if he was the genius chess player that we think he is today, he would have been this guy 7 years ago then, right? I think he even admits on some songs that GNX took him a while to get to the mind state he's at now. So like, dude, no one's perfect, bro. Like Jay-Z has had bad performances, whoever, bro. Like, I think it's when everyone's getting so stuck on this meant that, and he was trying to do this, and it's like, bro, stop it, bro. Were you entertained? Because those 15, 20 minutes are meant to be you drinking your Corona with your family, with your boys, either dancing along, singing along, or fucking bobbing your head a lot. And if none of that happened, how is that successful? Like, that's where I struggle. Like, if none of that took place, then how can we be raving this, bro? I saw one, again, it's weird because if you just go off like what the internet says, like it's almost hard to form any kind of opinion because like some like very high end media outlets are like, name this like a top 3 performance of all time, and then other ones are saying this is probably one of the worst. So I'm like, bro, like which one is it?
Yeah.
But I know I'm just going based off my own gut and like what I was like looking for from this. Like, yeah, man, it was really hard for me to deem it a success. Besides the fact, like, again, like, yeah, like this might just be, hey, it made sense. He was having the best year up until this point. Let's give him the stage, like almost as like a lifetime achievement award type shit. And that's fine. But I think if you're on that stage, then I feel like there's a sense of requirement that comes. And if you're just like, well, I don't have to do that because I'm different, fine. But then we also weren't entertained. And I think that's where I struggle with the performance.
Yeah, I struggle to internalize like how I was feeling, because I feel like with music especially, and even in hip hop especially, it's very perception based. So at least initially, you tend to kind of gravitate towards the public opinion of like, if this album is trash, then I guess it is trash, and like it shouldn't be ranked as such, you know, amongst the list or whatever. And I think in this case, it seems to be 50-50, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, very interesting, which is why I think it's better to just like stick to whatever your gut is, and that'll go the right way.
Right. And which is why I watched it again. But I feel like ultimately, at least from Kendrick's perspective and his team, I think all that matters to them is what their metric of success is. And I think if his metric is using it as a chance to speak to the quote unquote culture and get his message across and like, you know, unapologetically platform true hip hop in his message, and everyone's, or like most of America finds it boring or whatever, I feel like deep down he still
they don't care,
really give a fuck. Like,
I agree,
which I guess is fine. And then obviously a lot of people are gonna be like, no, I wanted to hear some slaps that have nothing to do with, that don't really have some crazy, you know, underlying message. And I think those feelings are valid, but I honestly don't think, I think most people would respond by saying that wasn't the point, and Kendrick doesn't give a fuck like what you think.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like in Kendrick's camp would be like, Kendrick was being Kendrick, and that's why he was on the stage in the first place, which again is fair. But I feel like when the sometimes when the audience is just demanding slaps, bro, like when we're demanding slaps that you gave us, like, why are you mad at us because we want the music you already gave us? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we're not asking you to fucking do like someone else's bangers. We're asking you to do the bang. Like, these are your songs that you put out. You were happy to win Grammys for them. You were happy to do tours with these songs. Like, bro, like Baby Keem Family Ties was more hype than any song he did yesterday, which is weird. You know what I mean? Like, so that I thought Surprise was going to be like Baby Keem or something, or people from his camp like that. All right. So again, split on that. I think we agreed on a few views, and I did like your takes. All right. So for the Drake aspect of it, because this feels like what we saw yesterday was a clear contrast to what the energy we got just 7 days ago at the Grammys, right? Because the Grammys, it was almost like, I'm not talking about Drake. Let the music do the talking. I'm grateful for the awards. And then it felt like he was going out of his way to make it very clear that this is about Drake. Fuck Drake. And I don't know, man. It just felt very odd because I was like, dude, I think if he would have just done the not like do the song, right? 'Cause I think the big controversy leading up was like, is he going to do the song? I think if you do the song very well, which there's no reason why he wouldn't do it well, I think that's like the chess move where everyone's like, oh, dude, he did it. But to make it like a part of other songs, and then you had to have like Samuel L. Jackson like pause and tell you not to do, I don't know, man. It just felt like, and then the Serena Williams aspect of it, bro, like your ex is crip walking. Like you just brought her out because that's, he fucked her before and he dissed her husband. Like, dude, all that stuff just felt like.
Well, she was is from Compton too.
I understand that, bro. But do you think if Drake didn't diss her and her husband, she's on stage crip walking? No. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like that's my point. Like it just seems so like extra. And again, I'm sure there's like a part of the world, bro, like maybe even me, where like you appreciate the level of pettiness, but I don't know, man. I feel like I told Blair this offline, I'll repeat it here, but like it's like, bro, this is your moment, right? This again, a lot of this felt like you got this moment as like a lifetime achievement award. And for you to go up there at your acceptance speech and just be talking about someone else for like half of it, I was like, all right, bro. Like, again, maybe I'm the weirdo, but like that felt weird. Like, why are we talking about him? Like, we know you have a song, you did 2 songs dissing him in the set list. Just do the songs. Like this build up to it, like, am I gonna do it? Hey Drake. It's like, okay, bro, like cool, bro. You won, bro. And I honestly, and this is just me as like, I try to be neutral on this, but like in a weird way, I think like Drake won in that aspect. And I know that might be a crazy take, but like the fact that it was like
some people agree.
Okay, the fact that a lot of it was about someone else on your day, yeah, it just felt weird, bro.
And the funny thing is, I'm staring dead straight into a H&R Block ad in the headlines, not like us, and then it has a bunch of other bullshit about how I should sign up to their tax software. This is where like hip hop starts to dive into the corny, category. But no, I agree with that. I think, but as I think about it, because that is another common conversation, like this all just gives more weight to the fact that Kendrick's legacy is kind of becoming tethered with Drake. But I also feel like he's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Kendrick, that is, in the sense of if he doesn't do the song or references, people think he's scared or he isn't delivering what the people want to see. Like, we want to see blood and you just be petty. And then on the other hand, like you just said, when he does it, now it's also, hey, you're making the performance about him, or it's a reminder that your biggest song last year and your Grammys are tied to a man that you're fighting against. So he technically is like winning with you in this weird, like, symbiotic way. So I feel like regardless of what he did, there would be complaints about him doing certain things. I mean, I'm glad that he didn't take it any further, as in like have imagery of like the Canadian flag burning or fucking pinata of Drake floating around or some shit. Yeah, or like burning owls. Because if he did that, I think it would just be undeniably kind of cheesy and weird. And I don't know if it's on some like, maybe it is on some like Kanye level shit where he really just does not care. And it's like, this is my platform. I think this guy is a cancer to the culture. And if I have to call him out on the biggest platform to poke fun, then fuck it. Like, maybe Kendrick doesn't even think the Super Bowl is that like sacred of a moment where he needs to like please Americans. Maybe to him, just another chess move that he knows people are going to take seriously.
And like the seriousness of it, like him, like you think it's like him shitting on that guy at another level, like makes people truly like, does he think like, oh, if I keep saying it enough, people will agree with me and then also not fuck with him?
Like I'm wondering if to him the Super Bowl, he's not similar to the Grammys. Like, he's not viewing it as this end all be all accomplishment that he really cares about. It's just like literally to poke fun at Drake, who he, I guess, thinks maybe cares about the Grammys or the Super Bowl more. He knows Kendrick knows we all care about those things, but to him, it's just an opportunity to rub this song and this battle in his face in just increasingly higher public platforms.
Yeah, maybe, bro. I don't know, man. It just feels like, again, we were talking offline, but like when you keep trying to tell people you're over your ex and you keep talking about your ex, I feel like you're not over your ex. And I just feel like he keeps talking about him, and the way he spoke about him, like, I don't know, bro. Again, I get like the suing thing was funny, I guess, bro. But I feel like, I don't know, the fact that it was like that happened and then 5 minutes later he played this song. And I get it was probably to throw people off. Oh, maybe he's not going to play it. But we knew he was going to fucking play this song, bro. So just like, I don't know, man. I just feel like if you play the song and do a good job performing the song, then everything is achieved. Yeah, maybe it just goes back to like, again, I just didn't understand the set list. And then to sprinkle, so the set list was confusing to me based off what his catalog is. And then to sprinkle that aspect of the Drake hate throughout, it's like, I don't know, man. The idea of like people saying that it's about, again, back to the symbolism, this is for LA. And again, I'm not saying it's not, but when he specifically is making it about something else so much, it's hard for me to truly believe that he also agrees with that at his core. Like, that's what I struggle with. Like, it feels like for this one, it is like an either or thing. I don't feel like you can, put your foot in either or, each one and just say, well, it's this now, but really it's that. I'm like, no, man, it's either or. That's how I feel, at least.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fair way to feel, especially if you're an artist who lets the music do the talking or the art do its talking. We have no choice but to come up with our own interpretations, because it's not like he's in interviews saying, you know what, I really don't care about Drake all that much. Like, I just want to make fun of him because I like teasing people who I think are wannabes or something.
Yeah, because he didn't really. I mean, I just saw the snippets of it, but he didn't really say much in both those interviews, right? It was just like, oh, it was for the sport of the game,
right? It was very
and then I believe everything regular. I said, though. But yeah, it was very very calm. So to get that version at the Super Bowl after what we just had at the Grammys, I was like, bro, I thought we were over this, bro. I thought this is just about you, and let's just focus on you. Let's not focus on someone else. And like. And the weird part, the only thing America could take away from that is just like, oh, this guy really this guy chose to have a very individual conversation with someone on the largest stage. And that just felt like, bro, like, why are you talking to him? We're here. Yeah. Like, talk to us. Like, give us the bangers.
Yeah, I could see that. But the more as time goes on, the more I feel like he really is serious about his like war against the machine,
the idea of Drake.
Yeah, like the idea of Drake. I feel like he's just on a relentless mission to just make whatever that representation is be uncool or what have you. And to him, like, being entertaining is what he did in his mind. It's watching the party die rather than like, okay, like, with swimming pools gonna get people to recite my lyrics like more than this song. I mean, he said he wanted to tell a story, and whether or not people think that's effective is up for debate, but clearly he went into this with the intention of like driving a point home rather than having a cool wardrobe changes and this hit syncing with this one and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think for like most of the audience, and I think a little bit, maybe I'm hearing a lot in what you're saying too. I think we already got the point. Like, we've had 8 months of the point, bro. Like, this was like the moment you were able to just drive home who you are and like what the next chapter of your career is. So that's where I struggle, but it is what it is. Again, I think to your point, I'll probably rewatch it on YouTube as well, because you're saying that the quality of the audio was a little bit better, right?
Yeah, it was better, and then like obviously the hype is a little died down, so you get to just appreciate it for what it is a bit more.
Nice. So could you see yourself like on a normal Friday night throwing that on and like actually vibing out, like, and dancing around to that?
I don't know if I go that far. I think, again, there's still limitations with like how much he can do in 15 minutes with that range of songs and stuff. But I think I spent more time appreciating how much a single
work went into it.
Right, work went into it. Like, as a rapper specifically, because typically we just see them standing in the same position, kind of letting the crowd do most of the work. But seeing him like dance and like transition from one scene to another, and like be able to transition from rapping to singing and do all that, I was more surprised with that rather than maybe the message or symbolism that people are more fixated on. Like, all the Drake shit and stuff, like, we've seen it a billion times, so I'm not even that surprised that he like smiled when he said Drake's name or anything. Like, to me, that's the less interesting stuff, but I know the media outlets are going to focus on that. I was more impressed by the actual delivery, like, of the performance.
Yeah, which is why I think if
physical
again
aspect.
live, it would have been sick if that mic was a little bit louder. So like maybe it would have drove home a little bit better. But all right, so that was that. That was a Super Bowl. Anything else to add to that conversation?
Um, I guess just really quickly, what if you could go back in time and like see this leak set list and convince Kendrick to change everything at your will? What would you do differently, or have him do differently?
Yeah, I would say I'm starting it off with a song that I like the idea of like a very mellow beginning to like then get them, up, no Diddy, but he has songs that can do that. I don't like the idea of playing this obscure song that no one knows, bro. Like, I get it was a snippet from like a TikTok or some shit, but like no one knows this song, right? So, dude, I'm intent like, bro, have I heard this shit before? Like, was this like some old shit that I never heard of? Then when I saw it was from G and X, I was like, bro, what? So I would just say I would start off with a newer G and X song that had a slow start and then quickly went up, and then I'm bringing in all the bangers, bro. I don't give a fuck. 15 minutes of nonstop hits, man, and then sprinkle in. I think you said N95 or there was Rich Spirit. Like I would have put that one in. So again, it has that mellow, and then the next like melody could be something a hype. Like yeah, I'm doing only bangers, and then I'm bringing out Baby Keem for Family Ties that everyone fucking knows and loves. Like get a little mosh pit happening. Like bro, only hits, man. Like because again, this is meant to be like the pinnacle of every artist's career. So like again, I get this whole idea of like fuck the industry and what they want me to do, but like man, like I feel like a lot of people, again, I know the numbers always show that his streams went through the roof the next day. I'm like, sure, bro, because a lot of people maybe are hearing you for the first time. Like doesn't like who cares? But like I think a lot of people also left that not knowing that he has like true fucking classics. And like they don't have to be hip hop classics. Like, these are just fucking great pop songs. And like it was weird that so if I was asked, I'm playing, dude, all the bangers. Bitch Kill My Vibe, Jay-Z's coming out, like, bro, all that shit, bro. Because why not? Like, bro, what are you holding back for? Like, that's my thing. Like, are you assuming in 10 years you're back on that stage? Like, I don't think that's happening. So yeah, I feel like it was too much focus on how can I be different here, as opposed to how can I just be the absolute best version of what this show is meant to be. Like, I think you could be the best version of what that show is meant to be and still get like your point across of, wow, like this guy is amazing. But I felt like it was just too focused on, let me tell a story here. And it's like, I don't know, man, I wasn't trying to hear that story. What would you change about the set list?
I would say personally, yeah, I would have liked a couple more throwbacks that were not quite as recent as some of these. Selfishly, like, I mean, I'm planning to go to the GNX concert, so I don't necessarily need kind of like a crash course in terms of what that might look like. But still, I think overall pretty good. I think for me, what could have enhanced it even more was one more, I think, live instrumentation, especially being in New Orleans. I felt like he could have just amplified the energy a whole lot more and just had like fucking 100 band members like circling him or something,
which is common for the area. So yeah, again, ways to
especially
embrace
for like TV off or something where there's literally like a billion trumpets in the background,
or not like us, like that.
Or
yeah,
not like us, right? Just something to add novelty to it, because I've personally played Not Like Us a billion times, and I don't need karaoke moments where like it's just kind of the same thing. And on top of that, similar to other performances in the past, I think some unexpected surprise guests. I don't really have someone in particular top of mind, but I feel like
I think the Juvenile, the Hot Boys, or No Limit, like some New Orleans, dude. New Orleans is known for rappers, bro. Like, how don't you have one of them on stage for some moment? You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, of course, anyone hearing this is gonna say it's because it's about Kendrick and the West Coast and like his story, but I think like there had to have been somebody who could have fit that, and it could have just been someone from featured on one of his prior albums. Like, I don't care if it's fucking Anderson .Paak or some shit, like just something for you to say, okay, like this 15 minutes has unpredictable elements to it, and I think, minus the set leak, which is like the perfect example of, being predictable. I think I just kind of felt like I had seen much of it already in a weird way. So I think,
Well,
like,
especially with the pop out only
that
being
could
like
have helped
3
it.
months or 4 months ago, right? I think the
Right,
pop
yeah,
out
yeah.
is way too close in all of our memories.
Right.
So yeah, and I mean, I think the pop out was a far better performance. Like, just his time on the stage at the pop out versus his time on the
Mhm.
stage at the Super Bowl. I think the pop out was a way better
Right.
performance.
And then on top of that, there's like the build up to it, right? Like with this, we're kind of just diving into a body of work that was literally released like 3 months ago, and similar, uh, I guess, story in terms of like who the protagonist and the antagonist is. So
Yeah. I
yeah,
would
I
have
think
put
that
Squabble Up,
warranted
by the way. In
extra
hindsight,
stuff.
I don't think Squabble. Tell me when you go see him. I don't think Squabble Up is a good live thing, because I think the things we like about Squabble Up are like the sampling and the techno aspects, and then when he's like
Mhm.
singing along to that, like, it didn't hit. At least
Yeah, yeah.
maybe
At
his
least
mic
at
was too
that
low.
moment, from the because I actually do like the snippet in the beginning. It has a very like cinematic kind of build up, but Squall Up feels like almost too like unserious or like fun to be the
Yeah,
first one after that. Like that
yeah.
should, if it went into like N95 or some shit, I think it would be like a different story.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely both got it way wrong on the first song, but I mean, again, dude, I think if you ask someone, if Kendrick were to ask, hey, did you do everything you wanted to do, he would say yes. So, dude, again, if he's happy with it, bro, I don't think he's losing sleep over, definitely not us, but a general, like, media outlets telling him that he dropped the ball. Like, I'm sure he's happy with it, but again, I do think, and I mean, me as one of them, I do think a lot of Drake fans went to sleep last night like, all right, bro, like, I'm not saying this is over with, but this is probably the first time in a long time where it feels like people get that this like obsession is a little bit odd. Like, that's how again, as a Drake fan, talking to, it's like, bro, like, why are you talking about him? Like, there's ways to do this, and like, it's not like the end all be all. So
Yeah. And as a fan of
right.
both, I think I think most people, or I would hope most people, are hoping this is the end. I think we like get the end of the story, and
Yeah.
like hopefully both of them can move forward.
Yeah, just next chapter, and like, let's just like, focus on making music, right? So use as a segue. So we're recording this on February 10th. On February 14th, Valentine's Day Friday, we are getting a PartyNextDoor and Drake collab album. Snippets have been out, sound decent. I'm trying to avoid really listening to it to like, not ruin any kind of like, I don't want to hear the best parts before it. I downloaded Thursday night. So I'm personally excited, bro. Again, I think maybe the timing is odd just because of all this, like, especially the last 2 weeks of it being Kendrick Mania. But to your point, I think after, like, it's almost like, what else can he really do? Right. And I think there's almost like I don't say like a fatigue factor with Kendrick, but it's almost like, all right, bro, it's been 8 months nonstop. Like, we get it. You're the man. At times, though, we want to dance and like not overthink, right? Because I think that's like the balance of like hip hop fans like us. Like, yeah, man, we fuck with that shit, but we also fuck with the dumb shit. Like, dude, we had a whole segment about how we love how simple and stupid Young Dolph lyrics are, but they hit so hard that like you fuck with it, and then obviously, and if that the funny thing that Drake is like a perfect combination of both, right? Like, you can get the crazy symbolism, but also just have like simple ass lines. So yeah, man, I'm super excited, man. I think things have been far too serious the last 6-7 months. And I think it's time for like a fun R&B vibe Drake, where it's really just, serenading girls and taking them shopping and to nice dinners and why their ex is a loser. Like, I'm all for that, bro. I think we need a break of the seriousness. So I'm definitely looking forward to this P&D Drake collab. How about you?
I want to use the word excited for myself. I would say I'm intrigued. And part of that's because I mean, I've never really been the biggest PND fan, and it seems like his name is kind of the one in bold font for this particular project. So if
That is
he's
true.
like,
That's a good point.
supposed to be the
Yeah.
star. I'm not the biggest PND fan. I don't know how much Drake is going to contribute to it, but the fact that Drake's like this is the first time Drake is really putting effort into marketing something since the beef. So I'm hoping that means the delivery is going to be stronger than like, Hey There, Delilah, which is a very, very low bar to even have to raise. So
he's had a couple bangers though, since the beef though. Like I think
the co-sign it though.
Yeah, but I think the Sexy Red, You Are My Everything was I mean, to me, dude, that's like a top 25 song of the year for me. Mm-hmm. And then I think this Circadian Rhythm, and he had a couple songs still in the meat. And dude, I like a couple of Gordo songs. But I know what you're saying though. Like it hasn't been anything like that is earth shattering because I think of the overall climate for him. So I get what you're saying.
And he has a tendency or a habit to name albums and have the music like be completely different than what the fucking album title is. So that would work in my favor if that's still like a true theory, because clearly this is presented as like a Valentine's R&B love song compilation, but apparently in Australia he said there's like upbeat bangers on it. So if that's the case, I'm all ears. Regardless, I'm learning time and time again that like if Kendrick and Drake aren't doing anything, then like I'm not doing anything in terms of finding shit to listen to. So I'm praying it's good. And to your point, I do want some less serious stuff to vibe out to. So if it's good, it's good, but we'll see.
Yeah, but I wasn't paying, but you're right though with the whole like, it does seem that he's pushing this as a PartyNextDoor project more, and that he just happens to be on, as opposed to a true joint collab. Like it's not. Yeah. It feels like the marketing isn't like telling us it's going to be like a Her Loss thing.
Yeah,
or like
maybe
that
it's
one
for
was
legal reasons too.
Maybe. Hopefully, I'm hoping that is, because I'm hoping there's like every song is of both of them, and then like a couple of songs are just Drake by himself, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if that's the case, I'm all ears.
Yeah, like on some like what was that? What a Time to Be Alive with him and Future, where like each of them had like their own songs and they had songs together. Like I hope that's the energy.
Mm-hmm. I've never been the biggest Drake R&B fan, and maybe it's just because I've never found a mood to where that hits me. Like I feel like if you're going through heartbreak or like just in your feelings, maybe. But for me, the R&B music that hits tends to have like a more either it's like upbeat, like a banger that happens to be R&B, or it's more reminiscent of like the structure of older R&B, where it has like a bridge and more going on. A lot of Drake's is like mellow, like you're sipping on wine, smoking.
Yeah, Marvin Room shit
for 4 hours, like, which I'm not doing all that often. So
yeah, I get that. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, the fact that we're getting this, and it's again, I think there's actual excitement about it. So we'll see. But I think we just need some like less serious shit, and then everything like, what does it mean? Like, bro, I just want 9 good songs, and like that's I know it's a low bar, but like I'm fine with that. Yeah. All right, so before we get out of here, we got to talk about second episode in a row. Kanye seems to be crashing out. He had another commercial at Super Bowl that he was, I think, doing at the dentist from his iPhone. Did you see that?
Oh, really? No, I didn't see that. Catch that one.
It was a commercial that he had that he said that he's doing it from his iPhone because he spent all his money on his new grill, and he was just telling people to go Yeezy.com. And as of today, February 10th, the only thing available on Yeezy.com is a swastika shirt, and he was tweeting like crazy and just the most wild shit. I think at one point he had a bunch of Pornhub clips on his main page. So like, bro, but what's weird is like, I think like everyone's like also unbothered by this, because we're just like, he's so unserious. And I think he just wants to see what he needs to say for people to take him serious again, that he's losing his mind. Mm-hmm. But he seems very like, everyone seems to be taking this very like whatever, bro. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, which is odd because the shit he's saying is
like that
wild.
before.
Yeah, before it's like, oh my God, like stop the press. What's going on? Get him on CNN. We need to talk to Kanye. And now it's just like, man, like, because he was talking about like Kendrick should say free Puff. And it's like, bro, what are we doing? And then like why are you saying this? So yeah, I'm not trying to put this out there, so I'll just pretend it's just you and I talking if there's like one moment in this episode, but like it almost seems like suicidal tendencies. Like, how far do I need to go to like
get attention?
Maybe like it just seems like, bro, like extreme and some dude, like the fact that, you know, obviously we've been listening to Vultures and I listen to Kanye show all the time, but like the fact that I was driving and like a couple of songs came on back to back, even I was like, bro, I don't want to listen to that shit right now. Like, it's just like, it's uncomfortable, like all this shit he's doing. And I think it's also past the point where it's like funny. Because if it was just like the porn clips, like we know he's a horny bastard, like that, like whatever, bro. I think it's the stuff leading up to that. And then the swastika shirts and just, yeah, all of it, man. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you are too, but I think we're all kind of happy that it seems like every outlet is not taking him seriously at this point. And I think part of it is Kendrick clearly is like the golden child right now. And it just seems like a very, very obvious attempt to get attention.
To steal the attention,
to steal the attention. So that's why, like, I'm not even like offended by half the shit he's saying. And I think we kind of knew he was trolling before, but we didn't have like blatant evidence because there wasn't really any true reason, it felt like. But and I think that's why deep down, you know, when people would ask, how could you still listen to this man after all he said? Deep down, we knew he was just like,
he's not serious. Yeah.
And I think now it's more apparent, like literally a Nazi t-shirt on your website. Like, I don't believe for 1 minute Kanye cares. I think he's just figuring out the most insane, shocking shit he can say for attention. Pretty much the only thing left is for him to like admit he's a PDF file downloader. And he knows he can't do that because he'll never return from that shit because nobody would even remotely support that. But
especially when we know your kids and we like, you know, they're like America's darling, sweet little, you know, happy babies. So like, yeah, for sure.
But he would, if he could return from that, I'm positive he would say that. And I feel like he's just like a rich, you know, pseudo or actual billionaire who wants to treat life like this social experiment at this point. Like, how far can I go to piss off to promote whatever it is I have going on? Or he just,
I mean, the album is called Bully.
Yeah, the album's called Bully, which kind of made me wonder if how far can he go to like abuse his power, basically? Like, look at these stupid subhumans. I can literally say I'm part of like one of the most despised groups of humans on the planet, and they'll show up to my concerts.
Yeah. Honestly, this feels like a fucking like Sacha Baron Cohen like Borat, and like we're not aware we're being filmed. You know, like
right, like seriously. And fortunately, I think it seems like most people are standing up to it. Even like Kanye stans who like would defend it. I think the logic is just completely gone at this point.
And I'm not saying that we know Puffy's guilty, but like to go that far with like, Kendrick, you better do this because Drake called you a wife beater, and the only difference between you is that we don't have it on camera. So like, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, why do you feel like to take? So like, I'm glad that most people are just either, you know, standing up to it or just like, bro, it's not even worth talking about, bro, because there's no way he believes this shit.
Right. And it makes me take a hard look at like any artist I admire, including Kendrick. Like, I know Kendrick, fortunately, has basically told everyone, like, don't look at me like a savior, but I just kind of have lost faith in the motive of a lot of these guys. Like, it feels like the truth is being unveiled and they're just all on some bullshit, and like nothing they say really means a whole lot, which makes me want to go back to the more unserious shit. Because a decade ago, you'd swear Kanye was willing to give up all his money to fight for the truth. And now it's like, you're just bored and horny. and
Yeah.
apparently a Nazi.
Yeah.
What a combination.
Yo, bro, what a disaster his life has become. But dude, again, he's also worth like 2.5 billion. So I think he's laughing at us. Yeah, I think this seems to be like an album push, but just the weirdest album push he's ever done. But yeah, very, very peculiar, bro. Like, you know, I want to say crashing out, but it just seems like his stock also seems to rise when he's doing this. Because again, everyone's talking about it, but not talking about it, right? Like they're talking about him as opposed to making it a big deal about what he's saying, but it's more like he's still being talked about, so he's like still winning. So yeah, like it's a weird social experiment, like you said last episode. But again, dude, time will tell. But I think there's also a reason why. I mean, dude, think about back in the day, like a lot of artists didn't last this long, right? Like the money's it seems to be the most it's ever been in a weird way. Right? Because rappers always spoken about being rich, but like the rappers now are like rich, right? Like the Jay-Z's, Drake's, Kanye's of the world. Like these guys are super duper wealthy. And I just think like normally back in the day, these guys have a 4 or 5 year run. We never really see them at their peak wealth. And when they get to that point, no one really is trying to hear what they need to say anymore. And the fact that these guys still have like microphones in front of them, like maybe they shouldn't, you know, like maybe we should have like stopped listening to Kanye like 5 albums ago or 4 albums ago. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's interesting, bro. Cause yeah, I feel like why didn't this happen more often before? I feel like the money aspect of it like changes people. And I think it's just a reality.
Yeah. And yeah, a lot of these guys like weren't, I guess, quote unquote, supposed to last this long. And I feel like he's just, it gets to a point where you're fighting for a reason to be creative or like develop this enemy to fight against. And if you don't have that, like, what do you have to say?
Or and that could be like the same thing with the AI thing, right? Like I think with the sampling back in the day, like I think he was trying to be like the unique one, right? So he found a very unique way to sample songs and make it so creative. But I feel like, yeah, I think this is like really him just struggling. I mean, I think struggling, but like struggling with ways to like recreate himself. And like leaning in way too hard on one thing that he sees is garnering attention. But like, are you truly recreating your music or do you even care about that? Right? Like that's the, again, I just think there's too much money involved. And I think he's just lost like, again, I don't know, bro. Like again, he could be just fucking with us and he knows we're going to talk about it. Like, because when they came out with he's worth like $2.5 billion after losing everything like 9 months ago, I was like, what? How does that work? You know, like,
which makes it hard to like. I don't know what the truth is, and I think we all deal with what he's dealing with on like the most basic level of like, once you accomplish what you think you need to, then you're on to the next step. Like, okay, I need to buy a house or have kids or move somewhere and start a new job. But like on his level, like he's done the fashion thing. He's had a bunch of classic albums. And at that level, I think, because it was never supposed to happen for any human being, really, at that level, you just go crazy and you're like, well, now I got to fucking figure out a way to get to the moon and like build a studio there and all this wild shit. And I think he's opted for, I think he's attention hungry and kind of power hungry. So he's opted for, I guess, the more negative route of like, let me rile up the people and get people to hate me again. Because I think he kind of, now I look at the moment with George Bush hates black people, and it actually made me wonder if he even meant that. Like maybe he just wanted to piss off white people or something, and just
in that moment
controversial.
Yeah, dude, that's the shitty part, right? When you get caught out for one of your antics, like everyone starts looking at everything else differently, right? With like again, back to the Diddy thing, right? Like, maybe he never hit her before, but you saw it once on camera and it's like, now I believe everything, right? So like it's, very interesting, bro. So again, we'll see how this plays out. Obviously, we'll be here to talk about it. But I think the attention, the Kendrick part is cool, right? Because I don't think he's jealous of Kendrick, but I think he just doesn't want anyone not talking about Kanye, which is odd. But again, to each their own. So before we get out of here, episode 203, wrapping up, bro, I honestly don't even have a heat of the week because I've been just obsessed with this like Kendrick Lamar build up. How about you?
Yeah, I do.
Perfect.
And I already sent it to you, but I played it probably the most out of all the new music the past few days. It was a song by a dude called Chase Shakur featuring Smino, Love in the Six.
No relation to Tupac Shakur.
No, I don't believe so. And I'm assuming he may or may not be from Canada, just given the Six reference. But
the album just dropped too. Nice.
Yeah. The song's super smooth, and Smino's delivery on it was dope. I like how the beat switches up. So Chase is actually he's Atlanta born. Anyways, yeah, it was a dope, fun track. I'm always looking for stuff that are easy listens and kind of unlike what I typically hear. And Smino's delivery, like that part, I was replaying over and over and over. And these are the kinds of features or verses that like inspired me to make not only music, but I find myself trying to find like vibes similar to what I heard.
Yeah.
And, like
yeah.
mimicking it in my own unique way. So those are like the boosts of inspiration that kind of keep me going.
Because again, I haven't heard the song, but I think just what we both admire about Smino's delivery, because it also feels like the everyday man creating these things, as opposed to this like person who's like was just given the gift of, you know, writing or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Smino just feels like also like you bumped into him in the street, like a normal fucking dude that happens to have the ability to create an energy that you're like, whoa, how do I do that?
Yeah, no, exactly. And like the lyrics also, it's helpful when the lyrics are something that like I could have written and still be true to myself. Like it's really difficult when you're listening to like 21 Savage or something for obvious reasons. But someone like him, I'm like, oh shit, like I could have written that or something very similar and felt really good about it. So that's why I like artists like him.
Yeah, I agree. I'll repeat that. I'm gonna check the album out. I didn't realize it was a whole album. I thought it was just the one song. So the song is fire, but definitely go check out Wonder Love by Chase Shakur as well. So, all right, my dude, great episode. A lot of Kendrick stuff there, but I think good context overall. So let the people know where they can find this, and let's get out of here.
Yep. Check us out at audio-theory.com. New episode every week on all platforms. We also have the Heat of the Week, Spotify and Apple Music playlist link on there as well. So peep that. And if you're on YouTube, check down below. We got merch. Also have merch on the website if you go there. And then pretty soon, we're looking to revamp how our content looks and just the feel of everything to make it
absolutely
more entertaining and more exciting. So be on the lookout for that. But otherwise, please like, subscribe, share, donate, do what you can to support the channel.
Do what you can. Love you, bro.
Love you too.
Peace.